My Widow Phantoms. I'm just gonna do a quick tutorial on how to do basic cell shading and soft airbrush shading on digital because one person in particular asked me if I could make a video and give them a tutorial. So here I am making it. So basically with shading, you have your base color layer and then you obviously have different shades. I haven't thought this through when I was still making this one, and I'm still busy with it, so I might as well continue. So I'm opening up a new layer, and it has to be behind the main sketch layer so that the colors don't seep through the line while the line art. I'm thinking of giving the character maybe a purple hoodie. So I'm just going to take a base color and I'll be making a quick outline just so I can show how the shading works. Because for shading to look decent, you at least have to have a solid foundation to work off of. So quickly adding in some lines, because I am going to bucket fill this. Bucket filling it is going to be much easier than going and coloring it like this. Much easier to just add a single line and bucket fill. Be sure not to go into the other colors, because that would be horrifying. Indeed, it would be horrifying. I'm just gonna do one part of the jacket for now so I can show what the shading would generally look like. Okay, so bucket fill, boom. So shading works like this, where your areas are lighter. For example, if you look at the face, my light source is from this side in front of the character. So it would look like that basically. That's my light source. That's where the light is hitting. Um, the same goes for clothing. If you take a lighter version of the color, and let's say for example this is the rim light, you're gonna add a small area where the light's going to be hitting, as well as areas that the light is bouncing off of. This is just a common cell shading method I use to add different types of shading into my art. So there we have where the light's going to bounce off of. I'm just gonna bucket fill. Oops. There we go. That's just a simple light. When it comes to the darker shade from your normal base color, you'd want to stay in more or less the middle area and just add the color through that. Then we add a little bit of shading and fill. That's just a fast way of making the shading. When you have to go in detail, you can add smaller parts to make up for the folds. And once you color it, it'll make shapes and different types of folds that you can use on the character itself. But yeah, that's just a basic tutorial on how to add color and shading. You don't have to overdo it. For example, if you look at the hair, we have four different colors. We have our base color gray, which is this gray, whoops, which is this gray. Hold on, I just might put that, okay, which is this base color, gray. Then we have the midtones, which is a slightly lighter gray. Then we have the lightest tone of the hair where the highlights are. That's almost a oh, that is perfect white. Then we have our darker areas, which is a semi-gray. That's basic shading. So you obviously go from your um, darkest color all the way to the lightest color. The fastest way I can show this without having to color anything is simply by just creating a small box I can work off of and coloring it with a gradient. This gradient you can also use to color pick the different shades. For example, the hair, because I made one for the hair now. You can also do the same with the color of the jacket I used, for example. So we have the lightest part being the light purple. Then we have the base tone being the normal purple. And then we can keep the final one black. And that's basically how you get the different shades and gradients for adding your shading. It's basically just thinking of um, where the light would bounce, for example. Oh, wrong setting. Where the light would bounce. For example, if there was a light source here, the light would bounce outward onto the object. So the light would basically fill up that area. If it hits the face, like for example a light that is from this direction, then the lightest tones will go where the face is closest to the light. Where the dark shades start to pop in is where the face is furthest from the light source. So that's just basics on cell shading for anime. Hope this helped a lot, and I hope you enjoy and have fun with your shading experience.